Alrighty, welcome to the final part of the Gex 3D Enter the Gecko Commentary with me, Skully the Metalhead. Today we actually get what I think is supposed to be the last Resopolis mission, but yeah, we're doing this first, and again, I said this before with the Circuit Central and, the space-themed levels, but I'm hard-pressed to say whether it's this one or those other two that this is my favourite level in the entire game, because I just really love the very grungy industrial aesthetics, especially combined with all the televisions, and I just love that, that CRT static, man. Like, that shit is fucking kick-ass. Unfortunately, though, these levels are some of the hardest in the game, so you better watch your toes, especially considering some of the enemies as well. But, that being said, you shouldn't have too much trouble, and I apologize if you're getting any noise, because there's currently a dog outside my window, which is barking, which I swear to God it always does, because, I was filming the Grand Theft Auto 3 review earlier today, which, yeah, kind of shows you when this was recorded. And, yeah, dog wouldn't stop barking even when I was filming the storyline sequences. Yeah. Disco? Hell yeah. Why wouldn't Rez have this in his room? Well, in his media dimension, I suppose. Yeah. It's kind of bizarre that it doesn't do it. Usually what's supposed to happen in this part is that it's supposed to drop down a little drone, and then that's supposed to go off and attack you if you fuck up in the disco room sequences. But again, they're pretty easy, and you can usually tell which buttons you need to press via the window. Or at the very least, it'll tell you where to go next. Just get a load of this level, man. And not only that, but also the images that are broadcast are really fucking creepy as well. I think I might have mentioned this before in an earlier part, but if Gex 3D Enter the Gecko was given a HD remake with current generation graphics, this place would probably look a shitload more ambient given the lighting here. I don't know, I suppose if it was just remade with a bit more of a creepier quality in mind, because, keep in mind, Gex 3D Enter the Gecko is a fairly creepy game when it wants to be. Again, need I mention Mushu Pork? And, I suppose since I haven't really talked about him that much, Rez himself, because, just listen to some of his voice clips, man, and this is a creepy fucking guy. Especially considering his design as well. Shit, you wouldn't have thought that, a guy from, what many people essentially consider to be, a nice 3D platformer, would be so fucking nightmare-inducing, but such is life, I suppose. I don't know, I suppose I've always found the idea of Rez to be incredibly fucking creepy. He's this guy in the media dimension who can seemingly pull people in at will. I suppose story-wise that would probably be why the government wants to have him stopped, with Gex being the only one who's feasibly beaten him before acting as their agent. But at the same time though, just put just put Rez in the context of, a horror movie, a psychological horror movie at that, and just to see what kind of supernatural shit he could do. God, if Rez wasn't invented for Gex, that could quite easily delve into creepypasta territory. And, I think at that he would probably succeed over quite a lot of the little creepypasta characters that are invented in this day and age. So yeah, sorry about that little bit of editing snafu, just farming some collectibles to get the silver remote quite easy, which you can do in this level because you can summon those little drones that I was referring to earlier, and yeah, you can siphon collectibles off them, which is a pretty nice way of doing things, if a little bit tedious, which is why I skipped it. Also, don't fall into those pools of liquid Rez, otherwise it will harm you and you will die. In fact, there's actually another section, I believe that's actually a little bit later here, where if you fall into it just once, you die, so be on your toes. I don't know, man, actually another thing I'll probably comment on is get a load of this music, man. While I don't think this one is especially creepy, that comes a little bit later actually, but I don't know, I just love the use of static voices and all that kind of stuff. Oh man, I just love this level so much in this aesthetics. I don't know, it's like this, how can I describe it? It's like the harder-edged set of, what am I right? I don't think I'd be right in calling this cyberpunk, but I'd say 90s era cyberpunk in particular, that just had this kind of hard-edged CRT monitored looking, grim and gritty kind of appeal to it, which I think a lot of modern sci-fi has actually kind of lost out on, really, which kind of depresses me, because one of the things that I actually loved about the Ghost in the Shell anime was really just how, I don't know, heavy-set and industrial everything looked in that movie. Yeah, this is the pool of purple shit that I will lovingly refer to as Dark Eco, because if you fall into it, you die. I don't know, going back to my original point though, like, I mean, I don't think you'd ever see anything like this in a game in the modern day, unless of course they were going out of their way to recreate something that's faux 90s. Yeah, this is probably the trickiest section of the level in my humble opinion, because platforming plus conveyor belt is a little bit tricky. Plus, the fact that some people probably can't really adapt to platformer controls. Well, depending upon who you are, anyway. I don't think Gex really controls that badly, if I'm honest. It's just something that I think some people might have a bit of an issue with. I mean, I'd say Gex 3D Enter the Gecko's controls are a little bit better than most platformers of this day and age, I'd say. Well, not this day and age, I mean, of its age. Fuck, I'm confusing my words a little bit. Yes. Yeah, I think outside of this section we actually get to a pretty interesting segment right at the end of the level, which is... which I think does actually add a little bit of finality to the whole thing, and I was actually tempted to put this at the very end of the part, right before the final boss fight with Rez, but... sorry about that, another little editing hiccup, because apparently people in the real life just like to interrupt, and they're just dicks, and I want to play Gex, and there we go, we've got our silver remote. And now, let us progress to the final segment of this Rezopolis. Well, I'd say this is probably more so Rez's interior, I'd say, if you want to go by level continuity, and yeah, creepy fucking section here. This little church, electricity, and I don't know, this entire area is incredibly fucking creepy, man. But anyway, Bob's your uncle, we got our remote, and this was 4 weddings and a funeral. I believe is the level name? Oh, we've unlocked a bonus mission, which we'll be getting to quite soon. Chips and Dips. Yeah. That's a bizarre name for a bonus level. Yeah, before we get to the... I think what is supposed to be the first Rezopolis mission, we'll be getting to the last 2 bonus missions of the game. The first of which we'll be doing is, well, another one that's actually set in the Rezopolis trope, which is Bugged Out. And it's right around here, actually, which is a little bit bizarre, but anyway. Let's go in. Now, this bonus mission, I'd say, is probably the one that probably gave me the most trouble when I was playing this game for the first time, because, I mean, it's if only because of the sporadic nature of where the bugs come out, because you gotta keep on hitting that thing to, you know, keep the bugs coming out, and they do, on the occasion, just, you know, crawl over there, but at the same time, like, I mean, the thing that just has me rather... I don't know, pernickety about the whole segment is the fact that, you know, you're on a rather strict time limit. Which, I mean, again, though it doesn't look any different from any other, you know, bonus mission or whatever, considering the amount of collectibles you're gonna get anyway, I don't know, I mean, it's just something that irritates me. And again, yeah, I know the common saying is that, oh, if a time limit's aggravating you, then it's doing its job. I mean, that's no fucking excuse. Then again, I suppose I don't really handle pressure very well, and that's probably plays into why I dislike this mission more than anything else. But that being said, though, we do get our nice little bit of Rezopolis here, which is always nice. I don't know, just a real big fan of these designs. Although, now that I think about it, though, and I'm honestly just referring more so to the original Gex, when we saw the media dimension in that game, it looked quite similar to this, although I'd say this one probably has a little bit more of a solid construction to it. I don't know, I think the one in the original Gex, and I suppose I'm mostly talking in terms of artistry here, actually looks a little bit brighter. Then again, that could be the lighting, which in this stage in particular is actually a lot brighter than before. But then again, I suppose, as I mentioned earlier, if Gex was made in this day and age, then the artistry and the visuals would probably be able to better represent, you know, the darker, almost cyberpunk-looking aesthetic that it had. Yes, get to the... Yeah, this is one of the few levels where that kind of thing makes sense. You know, compared to other fucking levels. Anyway, we move on to our final bonus mission, which is Chips and Dips. With a hilarious fucking name, I can't get over that. Why is it called Chips and Dips? I mean, yeah, chips referring to, you know, computer chips, but dips? I have no idea what that's referring to. But in any case, last bonus mission, and it is another bonus mission involving my favorite, well, favourite of 3 tropes in this game, which I think you probably know what it is. It's Circuit Central, and we get to hear that excellent music again. Yes, get a load of this. Okay, well, it's ruined now. I think what I like about this bonus mission in particular, despite the fact that it's rather sparse and can lead to a lot of people getting lost their first time through, is the fact that it goes out of its way to replicate a lot of the advertisements that you would have seen in the 90s. Like, I mean, it parodies them, yeah, but at the same time, it's just something that looks... I don't know, it just looks nostalgic to me. I mean, again, I wasn't around, like, in the 90s era of the internet myself, but... I don't know, man, there's just something so endearing about it. Also, I'm pretty sure they might have used, like, a lot of developers to parody them, because there's actually photos of, like, real people in here, so... I'm getting the impression that maybe there was a little bit more fun to be had here. Nerds at play... I'm sorry, but like, things like that is what really gives me the impression. I don't know, it's just something so fun about this level. Like, I mean, even though it's not a full-out level in and of itself, it's just so cool. But in any case... I'm sorry, I just want to get lost in the ambience here, but... You know, this level is just fun. I suppose I could probably... don't really have anything to recount about this level either. Time for the tangents, I believe. No, that's not what I wanted. I was listening to music. Devil Driver, just before I did this. That was a little something else, and something spoilery for the reviews, because I plan things ahead, as far as the story is concerned. Let's see, comms... There we go. Well, that didn't take too long. I managed to stumble my way to victory. So... Actually, you know what? Again, it does that fucking bullshit thing. Oh yeah, big sparse level. Yeah, well, let's not show them where the remote is. You know, everybody's gonna take a break every once in a while. That's probably the one drawback of these bonus levels for me, is just the fact that it doesn't really show you where you need to go. Which again, you know, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, a real gamer can find out where to go anyway. You know, but I mean, fuck that fucking bullshit, man. Like, I mean, if you're not telling your players where to go, you know, whether directly or subtly, then you're fucked up as a game designer. I'm sorry. And charge up again. Again, this level can let you get easily lost. In fact, I'd say finding the golden remote is probably the hardest part of this mission, but again, if you find it, then this level is actually pretty fun. I suppose it's just something that you gotta practice first before you can really get into it, which again is I think is a design mentality they actually tell you to avoid in game development school, quote-unquote. Well, I think in most decent game development schools, I'd say, but then again, I wouldn't know. I've never taken a programming course in my life, and I'm rather shit at computers, despite the fact that I attempted networking with no prior knowledge whatsoever. Part of the reason why I'm such a fuck-up, and I drink myself to death every day, whether it be alcohol, or Pepsi. God, I'm rather bizarre with this. Yeah, this mission... Holy fuck. Love the music here, and when I think of Rez's Domain, this mission, man. I love the art design here as well. Like, I mean, even though the PS1 graphics make it look a little bit more cartoony than it should, just picture this done with a little bit more of a... Again, like, I mean, you can see exposed, like, organs and brains right here. I mean... Dude, this shit is fucking sick and I love it. Not to mention, like, all the biomechanical stuff running through here. And, regarding a certain plot twist regarding, Rez, this actually makes a little bit more sense. I don't know, man, like, I mean, this entire area just... fantastic. God, I mean, it's so fucking beautiful in this level. I love it. But, yeah, this is also the final film clip that we will find in this mission. We won't be finding it in this segment, but, yeah. Also, some rather bizarre stuff in this level, and rather contrasting things with Rez, as far as things are concerned, because it actually, there's an advertisement there that says, buy Rez Cologne. Now you can stink like the alien himself, which, yeah, doesn't make any sense, because if a certain spoilery twist is supposed to be believed, he is supposed to be a gecko before being transformed into this cyborg hybrid thing, like a hybrid. But in any case, though, I mean, fuck, man. And I suppose for the sake of passing some time, and to expunge my final tangent, because I did talk about the negative things that I was worried about Gex getting a reboot, but I suppose in this case I could probably talk about, you know, what I would like to see if Gex, you know, well, not necessarily rebooted, mind you, but, you know, was given another game to, you know, expand upon everything, and just generally just give us a new Gex game after so many years. I mean, seriously, wouldn't that be fun? I mean, fuck, man, I mean, again, as I mentioned before, it would take, you know, the right writer and the right kind of person to, you know, really give the game the kind of... shit, excuse me. I mean, it would take the right kind of writer and people to really give this game the same kind of appeal that the original 90s games had, but, I mean, just... I think of the amount of, you know, parodies that they could reference and homage, just think of the amount of, you know, stuff they could do, especially in this day and age, now that the media dimension is opened up a whole lot more, since it's not just relegated to television anymore. I mean, you can do things related to, you know, the internet, you can do things related to video games, kind of like in all manner of things. So it's like, I mean, even Gex 3 was starting to branch out with, you know, a lot of the things that it could do, like, you know, fairy tales, and again, with Gex, it's the kind of franchise where I feel as if you could do an infinite amount of stuff with, which, as, you know, Greg Tavares, or Travers, or whatever, had said in Gex 1, just having Gex being sucked into the world of television, you know, that gives you a lot more to do than just what was restricted to a film set like with the original premise. I don't know, I mean, with Gex, it's just like I don't know, it's just ideas like that which really give a series longevity. Which I suppose in many ways is also part of the reason why I don't think they go out of their way to really do much with Gex's mythology, so to speak. Because, I mean, while you can argue that, you know, if you're going to go for I'd say the Mario approach of just having little to no story outside of what's the basic premise of the game, or in the cases of some 90s platforms have a little bit of story, but it's not really that much to really get in the way of the gameplay experience, you could do, you know, pretty much whatever the fuck you wanted to. But at the same time, though, I do think a little bit of mythology does help to get people invested. But at the same time, then people get down to criticizing and writing, and then they then the excuse of, you know, oh, well, it's a video game and it's just doing video gamey things, doesn't fly anymore, and then people get mad, and then it leads to arguments, and that leads to hatred, and then that leads to the path of the dark side, and that leads to suffering. I can't do a good Yoda impression. And my brain was just running on autopilot for that entire sentence. Which is probably why it sounded a little bit more like verbal diarrhea. Oh, that means my mouth has got the reruns. But yeah. I also find the background really bizarre as well. It looks like they just lifted the fucking end... It looks like they lifted that fucking wall graphic out of fucking Doom or whatever. Which, they might have done, actually. I don't know, I mean, Doom was really easy to mod, I mean, even back in the 90s, so... who knows what they would have done. Oh, shit.
Oh, what a moron! Am I right?
Oh dear, I failed. But, yeah. We're pretty much done with this level. Anyway, let's try it again. This time with a little bit more attitude, dude. Yeah. Just watch your footing, is all I can say. Yeah. That statue of Rez looks a little bit goofy. Especially if you try and make some buck teeth out of it. It's quite fun. Anyway, I'll let you watch this cutscene, I'll take a drink of the Pepsi, and when we come back after the break, I will fight Rez. See you then, kiddies.
Lock and load, little lizard. Transformers.
And tonight, we finish this. I've just had a drink of the Pepsi, I'm all energized up after having a bit of lunch, and now... well, we've reached the end of the game. 9 parts in total, I believe. Fuck, man. I kinda don't want this to end. I've had a lot of fun with this commentary despite, you know, all the mumbly screw-ups and all that kind of shit. I don't know, I guess mumbly screw-ups are kind of my trademark now when doing commentaries, but... I mean, fucking... shit, man. Ugh. Anyway, this is it. You know, just to rub in how Gex just needs to face up to Rez, they just have this long tower ascent with Rez taunting you all the way through. So, man. God, this is fucking tense, man. Like, again, I'll say this right now, this boss battle is incredibly well constructed. Like, I mean, both in terms of, you know, build-up and execution as well. It's a perfectly challenging boss fight, but holy fuck, is it worth every second of it, and I love Rez's boss fight. So phase 1 is actually fairly easy, just dodge him, then make sure he runs into the lightning field, he shoots a bunch of missiles at you, and seriously man, this is just so cool. And I just love the fact that it's also from his perspective as well. It just, you know, the hunter becomes the hunted. Anyway, you do this for, I believe, one more time, and then, yeah, shit gets even more real. Shit gets realer. I love the music here as well. It's so... the industrial soundtrack to this game is just fantastic. No, excuse me. Yeah, indigestion. Yeah. Holy fucking shit. Rez, again, admittedly, he might be a little bit easier to some people in this segment anyway, but yeah, he has lasers, he will fucking crush you, and... oh my god, Rez. So creepy, yet at the same time so fucking badassly epic. Yes, badassly is a word now. Admittedly though, when you're trying to jump onto the central pylons that drop the TVs, it is a little bit finicky with his hitbox, because again, I've counted several times where he's crushed the thing, I've moved out of the way, and then fucking shit like that happens. And the unfortunate thing is, as you get towards the very end of the boss fight, is that, well, I don't know, the chances that you have for Rez to smack it down get less and less, because again, I believe it's at this point, he will only just smack it down once, and then the thing will raise down, then you gotta do another cycle of him swiping at you, then firing his laser eyes. It gets a little bit finicky, I'll admit, but at the same time, you know, when you finally beat Rez, it's a pretty satisfying feeling. I'd love to groove to the music, but I still gotta commentate. I suppose I'll let the final cutscenes play, and, well, except for maybe the epilogue one.
Gex, it is me, your father.
Yes, right. How can you be my father?
It's true. I didn't always look like this. I fell into a scrap heap while trying to get free cable.
And your point is?
No! No! Don't do it! I'll do anything. I know Tarantino's Gardner's fiancé. I could probably get you a meeting.
Okay then, Dad. How about we forget all this and go and play footy in the garden?
Hey, it's Nikki from Pandemonium.
Pardon my tongue, darling.
Come over here, you big stud.
And with that, my good friends, ends the Gex 3D Enter the Gecko Commentary. Holy fuck, man, like... I'd say for a few stumbles here and there, this commentary actually turned out pretty well. I mean, yeah, some of the early parts were probably a little bit better than others, but on the whole, I love doing this commentary. I love commentating over this game, and Jesus... I don't know. Supposed to sum up my final thoughts... Ooh... Well, at the time this is uploaded, I think you'll probably know by the time of the review that I'll put out around November of this year. But yeah, at this point in time, I'll save my thoughts for there, but... yeah, playing through Gex is a fantastic experience. Like, I mean, the level tropes, the music... even though it does have some moments of bullshit here and there, I still love this game so very much. I'd say this is probably my favourite game in the series, but that being said, I do have a lot of fun memories for Deep Cover Gecko as well, but in any case, I'm probably just... fucking nose. Sorry about that. Anyway. God, I'm just really happy at how this commentary turned out. It was so much fun to commentate over this, and it kind of ended a little bit too quickly, but in terms of other stuff, will I show off the bonus mission, which is the Titanic level? Maybe I'll show it off in a bonus video at some stage, but not now. Maybe sometime a little bit later when I actually get around to reviewing Gex, which, you know, if I am doing the bonus video, I'll probably upload it as like a Christmas thing or something, which is probably around about the time where I plan to upload the Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake review anyway, but whatever, I'm just rambling by this point. In terms of commentaries I'm going to be doing next, well, if this is going up in the summer, if my predictions are correct, then I'll be saving my commentaries for next year, and I might have alluded to this in part 6, I think. But yeah, it involves a certain blue hedgehog and a game series that, well, I'd say a set of games that I've probably been long overdue to get around to since this channel's inception, actually. So yes, what will that game be? Find out in the summer of 2018, and on that note, I'm Skully, keep it new metal, and, well, just enjoy the end of 2017 when this is uploaded. Catch you later.